Now, meanwhile, Russia ups the ante against Ukraine on day 24 of its invasion. Massive destruction across Ukrainian cities has been witnessed. UN now has estimated nearly 6.5 million people have been displaced from Ukraine, the war-torn country, and over 3.2 million people have fled the country. At least 112 children have lost their lives since the beginning of this war began. In fact, this is the kind of analysis and data that UN has procured. Here's a detailed report on that.
Russian missiles, rockets continue to rain on Ukrainian cities. No respite from the ferocious Russian onslaught. Buildings on fire, plumes of black smoke from houses and high-rises. Destroyed infrastructure. The scenes across Ukrainian cities are of absolute devastation. The city of Kyiv has faced the heaviest damage in unsparing bombardments. Fire raging in once posh residential neighborhoods. Heavily damaged residences and destroyed commercial establishments narrate the ferocity of the strikes. At least 130 civilians were rescued from the rubble of the theater used for refuge. It was bombed earlier by Russia. Many more are still feared trapped.
I want everyone to hear me, especially in Moscow. The time has come to meet, to talk. The time has come to restore territorial integrity and justice for Ukraine. Otherwise, Russia's costs will be so high that you will not be able to rise again for several generations.
Russian Defense Ministry meanwhile released a video showing its helicopter. Kyiv has witnessed heavy shelling that destroyed residential buildings and also resulted in multiple injuries and casualties. But the Ukrainian army has been able to hold the Russian troops at bay, stalling their advancement towards Kyiv. But the city is now completely deserted.
I'm here in Kyiv, in the Independence Square. I would just like to show you around how this city looks like, the center of the city in the fourth week of war. Everywhere it's quiet, there are no people around. It's like a totally deserted city, and this is what Kyiv is in the fourth week of war.
A country on brinks. Many Ukrainian cities are reporting mass casualties despite being largely deserted. The deaths of children in the war has crossed 112. Over 65 lakh Ukrainians are now homeless. With Rajesh Pawar in Kyiv, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, multiple explosions have rocked Ukrainian cities, causing significant damage to its infrastructure. On Friday, explosions near Lviv airport destroyed an aircraft repair plant. Here's what really happened. Now, India Today has been getting you all those images of the havoc and destruction from day one of this Russian invasion. Images on your screens here showing the most haunting images from the first day of war until day 10. These images that showed the kind of devastation that started off right when the war began. In fact, Russian forces are still inching closer to several key cities of Ukraine while bilateral talks parallelly carry on. And let me take you through the next set of visuals on your screens here that captures the mass destruction, the intense shelling and airstrikes all the way from day 11 to day 18 of the Russian invasion. We saw how talks between the two countries had failed and hadn't made any breakthrough, and despite attempts to try and negotiate, we saw the war continued on the other hand unabated. And here you have all the way from day 18 to day 24. Ukraine now battling missiles that are raining on several key cities, non-stop bombardments, air raids that continue. Here's a look at the war wrath that has been unleashed in Ukraine all the way from 19th to 24th. Situation doesn't seem to have de-escalated. We're looking at Russia only upping its offensive against the war-torn country of Ukraine. We're seeing bilateral talks that still is underway. No progress in those talks so far as we know. Here are visuals coming in right on India Today, where we filter to you and bring to you all the factual details coming in from ground zero. India Today's largest team of reporters have been bringing us all perspectives, all sides and all angles to this war. Unfortunately, that hasn't ended even on day 24. Now, while we know that Ukraine has put up stiff fight and resistance to Russian forces, top Russian commanders have been killed in this war between Ukraine and Russia. Here's a detailed report on who all were those who were killed in this combat between the two countries.
Armed to the teeth, tough, ruthless, the Russian military is one of the most intimidating forces in the world. But the Ukrainian resistance has been equally fierce. Ukraine has inflicted enough injury on the aggressor. A key commander of the Russian tank regiment, Colonel Andrei Zakharov, was eliminated in Kyiv after a heavy fight. Zakharov was a recipient of the Order of Courage from Putin himself in 2016. This is not the first high-profile casualty for the Russians in this war. In a fatal blow to Russia's crack special forces, Major General Vitaly Gerasimov, the Chief of Staff of the 41st Army, was killed in Kharkiv. Russia also lost the head of the 7th Airborne Division Major General Andrei Sukhovetsky. A war hero, the general's loss is being seen as a bitter blow to Putin's crack units. A sign Russia's assault isn't going to plan.
The key difference now between the Ukrainian and the Russian forces is the morale component. The Ukrainians have fought very well and morale is very high, and that is infectious, and it is clearly not just between the Ukrainian professional soldiers but also the Ukrainian civil society as a whole. They see this as a fight for national survival. And on the Russian side, morale is very low.
The death of the highly decorated veterans could be a major demotivator for the Russians and a morale booster for the Ukrainian defenders. With Gaurav Sawant, Rajesh Pawar and
Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping has told United States President Joe Biden in a video call that the war in Ukraine must end as soon as possible. But he did not assign blame to Russia for this invasion. Here's what really transpired.